Well, as you can see, the parts of the building have collapsed. The fire has indeed engulfed the vast majority of this compound that has been the
Bonnie,
site.
the entire roof is gone.
The entire roof is gone. Mike, what else can you
Yes.
tell us? Any sign of firefighting equipment? I know.
No, none whatsoever. And there's our shot from, you'll remember, Bonnie, what we refer to as farm cam. That's looking from the north side into the compound. Apparently the north side is not involved yet, but it appears the rest of the compound is filled with that orange fire and acrid black smoke.
Also, within the past 10 days, past week, federal authorities surrounded the compound, very close to the compound, with razor-sharp concertina wire to prevent people from running out. That may, in this case, prove to be hazardous.
Still no sign of anyone coming out, Bonnie.
Mike, at this point, the latest figures we have is that there are 95 people inside, of them 17 below the age of 10, a total of 25 below the age of 18. Now, with us on the phone is a member of the Branch Davidians speaking from prison. Go ahead.
Is this Brad Branch?
Yes.
Mr. Branch, what have you heard about what has happened, and was this something that was predicted by David? Is this a plan?
This is a systematic character assassination by the FBI to eliminate all of the crime scene. Now they're finishing off the job right now. They're destroying the crime scene. America, this is the biggest lie that's ever been put before the American public, ever. Bill Clinton wants to use a scapegoat like the Attorney General. You know, I don't buy it.
Mr. Branch, was there no plan? All right. Thank you very much, Mr. Branch, for joining us. Now, as you
Bonnie,
can see... Yes, Dave. Yes,
Bonnie,
let
me interrupt you just for a second. Off to the right side of the screen, you can see 3 or 4 people. Apparently, it looks like federal agents out there beside the building. Now, whether they have any of the cultists with them, it's hard to tell from this vantage point, but it appears there is some movement, some people outside of the burning portion of the compound.
You're right, and they are dressed in the black SWAT outfits that are used by the FBI officials. We now have a closer shot of it. It is very difficult to see what they are doing.
And once again, let's point out that the pictures are shaky because it is very, very windy, and
right.
We have to remain on a tight shot to get these pictures as close as we can. And the wind just plays havoc with our camera position.
Now, Mike, on the phone with us is R.G. Wilson of the Waco Fire Department. Sir, do you have fire trucks on the way to the scene now?
Yes, we do. We have 2 units that were requested by the FBI probably about 5 minutes ago or 6, and they're en route now.
Were you given any type of heads up or any type of warning that something like this might happen? Were you on standby at all?
No, not today. We have been in the past, but we weren't today of any type. We had been in contact with the FBI and ATF, and they were to follow normal procedures and use 911 to get a hold of us.
Have you been seeing pictures of the compound? And if so, at what point can you still make a difference in terms of putting out this fire and saving any of the building?
Well, the biggest problem there is there's no municipal water supply there. The compound is out in the country. They use wells. Our equipment hooks up to fire plugs, and just like they do in all the municipalities around, our engines do not have the capability to draft water. Therefore, we have contacted a satellite community, Bell Mead, and they're sending 1 or 2 units that do have the capability to draft water out of stock tanks, swimming pools, whatever the case may be. But right now, there's no difference. There's no way you can do anything with that building right now.
Well, and the building right now is about 7-8 miles outside of Waco.
Right.
When do you think your units will get on the scene?
They'll probably have about a 8 to 10 minute to 12-minute ETA.
From now, or from 2 minutes ago when you sent them off?
Yeah, probably from about 3 minutes ago. So they're probably still, probably at least a good 10 or 12 minutes away.
Mike Capps, are you able to see any more people outside?
Not from this vantage point, Bonnie. All we can see is some Chinook helicopters. If we could pan back over toward the fire, or perhaps cut to a shot over there. Could we do that, please? Thank you. from this vantage point, it'll probably be hard, Bonnie, to spot anyone coming out. Those Chinook helicopters will be used as medevac equipment, as we're told. This fire is completely out of control, and as the chief said, obviously they won't be able to do much except perhaps put out some smoldering embers there, it appears, and still no indication, no sign that anybody is coming out.
Mr. Wilson, are you still with us? Okay, I understand he's not. Still no word on whether or not any additional ambulances have been sent into the scene. Clearly, federal officials from the start were always prepared to evacuate a small number of wounded to hospitals in Waco. There's also the Fort Hood facility where we were told David Koresh and some of his others would also be taken. However, this situation has certainly changed that. Sonia, I understand you have a guest with you.
Yes, thank you, Bonnie. We're going to go now to Robert Klotz, who used to be in special operations for the D.C. Police. He ran the helicopter squad, the bomb squad, and the presidential security unit. Now, Mr. Klotz, we are all watching this. We heard that this is a non-lethal form of tear gas, and the big question at the moment is, did the gas ignite this fire, or is there something else that's responsible for it?
Well, I can't say with certainty that it did not. There are certain types of tear gas that when the methodology that you use can ignite a spark or create a fire.
Now, we know this is CS gas and that
That's
it was
correct.
administered through an M5 dispenser. Tell us what that means and how that might add to the information.
Okay, an M5 dispenser is merely a larger vehicle for emitting the gas. It's usually run by a gas motor or something of that type. If that was on a tank and it was being...
Let me mention to you, Mr. Klotz, if you were watching, we just saw an explosion that came from one side of this building, so obviously there are things that are igniting even as we speak.
Keep in mind there's heavy munitions and heavy arms in there.
Right,
Right, Mike, thank you.
I understand that part of that building had a lot of munitions in it, and that may be what you have just been looking at. The rapidity in which that fire took hold and the rapidity in which it spread seems to indicate to me that there had to be some kind of fluid or liquid in there. I've been at places where, through the delivery of tear gas, a fire has broken out. I've never seen one spread as rapidly as that, engulf as many buildings and as quickly as that particular one did.
Mr. Klotz, could I ask you a question here?
Sure.
Insert this here. Bob Ricks, the FBI special agent in charge in the news conference, said that this was non-pyrotechnic CS gas.
Okay, that means...
Can you explain what that means?
All right, that means that when it's introduced, there should be no spark or nothing that could create a fire. It's merely propelled through a tube in large amounts. Some of the other methods, if you use what they call a baseball grenade or a gas gun, where there's actually a spark created, but in a non-pyrotechnic type of situation, there is no spark, so there should be no chance for fire.
Mr. Klotz, let me ask you, as you look at all these pictures, I mean, could anyone survive this if they were anywhere in the perimeter of the scene that we are seeing right now?
Well, if there are underground bunkers, etc., as I have heard, depending on what type of air system they have, if it's an independent air system, the possibility is that somebody could exist. If they're in any of those structures, smoke inhalation would have taken care of the situation quite some time ago.
What about the heat, Mr. Klotz? I mean, how far down and to what temperature would heat go in terms of people being in bunkers?
Okay, you got to understand that I'm an ex-policeman, not an ex-fireman, so I'm not totally versed in that, but from what I understand, and the reason they tell people to get low, etc., during a fire and crawl is that heat tends to rise and the smoke doesn't go down too low. So it would seem to me if they were in a bunker which had a separate ventilation system, their chances would be better. I don't know what they have there.